To Be Hero X reaction. Leave a like and subscribe. Check out episode 2 coming out later today. Let's go. We're watching in the Chinese, by the way. This isn't the style I thought it was.
Very comic booky.
Yeah. Thick outlines. Oh, whoa. It's like Arcane.
Caught me off guard.
To be Hero X 这里的称号，而深层含义是代表了每个像我这样的也能有成为英雄的。够了，你都几还想做英雄？可能没有可能。你有什么可以为大家瞩目的地方？你有什么能力？有什么特点？平平无奇的普通人，普通人，认清现实才是你出人头地的唯一途径。可是
Harsh.
Yeah.
可是别解释了。
I don't know, it seemed like bro was cooking, and then you're just ripping him to shreds.
什么？方案已经收到了，中间可能出了点岔子，我们内部还没有。喂，可是昨晚你不是先让我把方案发给甲方了吗？你给我打爆滚蛋！
But then what if they liked it?
想来也是，
Maybe not.
看似给了人们成为英雄的机会。 但对于一个普通人来说，我个人的信赖哪有那么问题？更别提让大多数人喜欢。上一清。这条片子是我上个月刚做完的，我还在刺痛我自己。完美的家庭。 除了相伴到老的他，怎么能缺少一个安定的居所呢？为每一个单身的你圆梦单身，够了，奈斯！即便你现在再完美，总有一天也会变老变丑，被其他人取代。
He's just there?
Whoa.
Did they like censor him giving the finger so he just put out his pinky instead?
I think that's like offensive in
Is
some
it?
places. I don't know. I don't know there.
Griffin!
What the fuck?
What the fuck just happened? What?
I don't. Oh. What? What is this?
My God.
Is this guy gonna have to, like, they're gonna disguise this guy as him?
That would be crazy.
Oh, you're finally awake.
And everything was all glitching out. Like maybe there's like a
Yeah, I thought that that was like
power
a fake,
canceller.
like a character, but like not. I guess not.
The incident. Oh, is this not the first time?
Oh.
That would be funny.
Yeah, but it might. Oh, you look just like him. Oh, the white paint. Oh God.
This is moving really fast.
Yeah.
这都过去好几天了，这到底为什么要跳楼啊？拜托你搞搞清楚，被老板逼得跳楼的那个人是他。什么？
Oh.
这不是我吗？被自杀了。
这条新闻的阅读量只有1，所以没人会关心玲玲的死，他们更在意。
Wow.
I was wondering how they were gonna cover up the, like, dead body on the ground.
你别忘了，这个世界的万事万物进来发生改变。
So creepy.
现在怎么说你是那？他们相信你就能行。只要我们包装的天，那么你是那。
They said he was like a hero. Was he actually like a hero, or is he just a celebrity that they like pass off as some kind of
Can't tell.
superhero?
That's what I'm wondering.
最终成为真正的他。
不，眼睛的颜色都变了，头发和声音都和奈斯一模一样了。
现在太早了，现在建立需要花费巨大精力，而摧毁。
So freaky.
Yeah.
别忘了，你还没见你女朋友呢。
Oh.
下一枪，奈斯闭关训练的时候，你有没有去见他？
No, it was solitary training.
我今天也是时隔好久之后第一次和他见面。
萧雨晴是奈斯的女朋友，我不行啊！
怎么又来了？现在你就是奈斯，奈斯的女朋友就是你的女朋友。
我的意思是，萧雨晴是最了解奈斯的人，任何细微的闪失都会被他发现。
Yeah.
而且这个节目还是直播。哎，
Unless it's fake.
Yeah.
是紧张还是兴奋啊？
It's a public relationship.
萧雨晴，只是对偶像那种喜欢，没有什么非分之想。
像个男人一样，现在就下车。
不见，别来无恙。哇哦，奈斯一段华丽的后现代华尔兹转身的。第一次离这么近看的，觉得好美。他怎么没反应啊？是不是刚才动作太浮夸了？他竟然向我伸手了！我，天哪，他的手呢？好，两个应战别动，武装，备定，等队，音响，好，10分5秒，5、4。
What the hell is going
I
on?
have no idea.
欢迎大
This is
家
crazy.
来到直播现场，我是今天代班主持，也是联合会排名240真相之眼。启示，
什么情况？
娟姐，原主持被启示揭发直播造假，已经不上。
Oh.
发生在刚才，所以启示才会被定义成。
Throw everything off or what?
前娟姐给的台本。
Oh.
被警示准备来拆穿我的，现在已经察觉到了。奈斯小雨晴，
Mm.
这个节目叫《恋爱秘方》，在每段爱情的背后，多多少少都藏着一些不知的故事。
Oh no.
给我联系节目组，滚了！
那么今天就先测一测，你们彼此到底多少？
Uh-oh.
请问奈斯，萧月清总时长是多少？
How would you know that?
Who would know that?
你这是故意来找茬的吧？他
启示好像一直有在调查奈斯。
这问题都没算过。
Does he know? Because he's the one that's in charge of commercials, so he would actually know.
总共134条。
Mm-hmm.
He would know, even if the real nice wouldn't know, he would know.
分钟48秒。明明是个演员，怎么可能完美回答我设计的问题？
你竟然都记得？
那是当然，这次的广告创意是为了展现萧月清独立自信的一面。服装搭配上会选择更成。你是不是又在自嗨啊？她是奈斯的女朋友，不是你的女朋友。不需要你给她打，可都是我的心血。第二关，让我们来玩个游
What
戏。
the hell?
那又是什么？
好像是测谎仪。
Oh.
诚实是维持恋爱。
Is that what it looks like? Doesn't look like any lie detector I've seen.
是不是你的女朋友？你的完美都是被包装出来的，恋人关系是假的。
He's just a hater.
就是撒谎。糟糕，道老是个冒牌货，所以才会特意设了这个局。如果我代替奈斯承认，萧月清是自己的谎也肯定有赔。他如果不承认，那以后遭到质疑。
Just say she is Nice's girlfriend.
这么简单的问题，为什么犹豫啊？萧月清她不是我的女朋友。
She's my fiance. Will you marry me?
其实萧月清
The love of my life.
一直是我的。
Oh. All the fans are gonna be going crazy.
不知从何时起，萧月清成了我生活中不可缺少的一部分。
Whoa.
他给了我鼓励，哎呀，他给了我希望，希望自己变得更优秀，希望能成为英雄，在他的身边默默守护的。这全都是实话。
Yeah.
别得意的太早，还有第3关没过呢。
Okay.
What?
Did you defeat this thing?
Oh my god.
他曾经是个企业家，现在他被
What?
What the fuck?
你所赐乃死，千万不能被他认出。
I don't think he gave a shit about you, so I don't think you'll have a problem.
Oh, they fired him.
你们反复提修改造成亏损，说好不说今天从来没有给过。每次，你的团队就是一个压榨廉价劳动力。
I love the Hiroyuki Sawano in the background for this. It's like so epic and swelling.
是救命，而非死是救。我跟你没完。
Oh my god. Holy shit.
What? Is his training just paying off, or did he get his power? There's something to do with his suit, right?
Suit, like, gives him a little bit of extra power.
原来这就是当英雄的感觉，加班、艰辛、才干都可以。我这事业必须。
I don't think this is gonna convince anyone to help you.
你冷静一下。没当过老板，怎么能懂我们的心情？公务接不上，甲方员工还偷懒，还有脸来跟我打官司？都给我滚！让他们失去了才能懂得珍惜。正是围在员工的恐惧，我重新获得了力量。而那时，有一盏明灯面前，让我从真惧所带来的。
Oh my god. This domain expansion. The layoff letters.
Pink letter.
Oh my! There's people getting killed?
Hopefully.
It's an interesting way that these abilities work.
The effects are so sick.
Gotta come up with a new technique.
Fear's taking over.
You gotta believe in yourself.
Idiot.
我真的能行？没有可能！其他人。
其余人都是闪闪发光的，做最好的自己，相信自己，加油！
就算是个无名之辈，我有成为英雄的可能。
Holy shit. I've always wanted to kill my boss.
Holy shit.
联合会从袭击者的身上找到了恐惧值的增幅装置。这装置在此前由探照灯组织策划其中。
Spotlight organization.
没想到这次直播事故
He was sick as hell.
我本来也以为我扮演好莱斯就行，直到那一刻我才明白，你说的对。现在的我就是莱斯。
终于可以送你回家了。
你指的是
熊塔。
Hero Tower.
可能是由排名决定的，排名越高，住的也越高。怎么样？从这里看，是不是景色很美？
Sick.
查出来他跳楼的原因。
那就是他自己的选择。总有一天，你也会和他一样面临选择。
Ominous.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Just a statue of him.
这雕像可真够恶趣味的。
Imagine having to sleep next to a statue of a guy who killed himself in front of you and then you stole his identity.
Yeah.
He's like literally looming over you. Oh boy.
小野町怎么会在这里？
Yeah, this wouldn't weird you out. This would fuck with me. Like, I love the not so subtle ass shots. Whoa.
No way.
Holy shit. I'm in. I'm in.
I couldn't tell if that was real or
in.
not for a second.
Yeah, no. I thought that he was. I want to know more about this, like this Homelander guy. It seems like he's gonna be like a rival.
What is Homelander?
In The Boys, it's the guy, the blonde like hero dude who's like Superman. You haven't seen the memes that are, he's like larger than life. It'd be
No, I
across
haven't.
the internet.
I haven't seen it at all.
Guys, Lindsay lives in a hole in the ground. We haven't watched The Boys, but anyway. So in the first scene, he was like it was showing the big billboards and stuff over the city while he was getting fired or getting chewed out by his boss. And then there was a vertical billboard. I could find it. Leave a like and subscribe for the OP, and check out our episode reactions right now on our channel. Or soon. I don't know if we'll post this early. I don't know. Anyway, check out our episode reactions right here. Boom, there he is. There's Nice, and then there's him. So I think that they're setting up for like, if he is, because it's a Chinese show, I wonder if they are kind of playing off of that, because like he's like the wish fulfillment self-insert dude who's just kind of there for people to project onto. And then there's a weird, I mean, we can get, anyway, I'm getting distracted. I'm talking about multiple things at once. Anyway, so like he's the main guy, and then there's like the rival evil version who's also like a perfect hero type guy, and Homelander is kind of like an Omni-Man type. They're so often like, very exactly the same. Like they have a perfect outside image, but then behind closed doors, it's all a fucking act, and he's actually a complete sociopath. Like he just does not value people at all, and shit like that. But yeah. So I think that that's what they're building up with him, because he looks like him, and he's like, they're visually compared here, and in the OP he's also like flying like that, and he has like he's big normal hero guy with a cape flying around. Where was he? Right there.
Okay.
I'll show you a picture of him. I think that it might be like.
Oh, okay.
Like and he's supposed to be like the perfect hero, the Superman, but actually he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing that it's because of that. That's what they're kind of going for here with this guy. But I could be wrong. Anyway. So for the show, I'm like, okay, it's like, all right, so the guy, he's a loser. He has a lot of bright ideas, but nobody values him. Then he inexplicably becomes given like a huge opportunity to like show his true gifts, like, and he takes his opportunity and he works with it. It's, it's wish fulfillment, stuff like that. And I think that that's the core of it. And that's okay. I can go with that, I guess, but I'm not going to be like super crazy about it. And then he gets the hot girl and everything. And like, I'm like, okay, realistically, it would be pretty fucking weird for me. Like if I say I'm him, that would fuck with my head a lot.
Yeah.
And I like that he didn't like cozy up next to her in like a dumb way.
Yeah, it's like,
but the turnaround when she's dead after this episode is That is what I needed. I needed something like that. Because if it was just gonna be, he is taking the place of Superman, and he just, you know, he's a kind of like a, you know, yeah, like I said, this is wish fulfillment, self-insert loser guy who doesn't have a lot of prospects, but he's given this crazy opportunity, and, you know, it's something for people who are doing rough in their life to, like, escape and watch and, like, root for this guy. If it was just that, I would be like, okay, I'm not super into it. But seeing this, I'm in. I'm in with this, because this is a crazy turning point.
Yeah, I think it, yeah, you know, it's one thing to assume the identity of this guy and, like, you know, pretend to be him. It's kind of a different thing to be, like, messing with another person on this level, like his girl, you know what I mean? Like, just be like, oh yeah, especially since he, like, you know, had a kind of like a crush on her and, like, liked her as, like, a, you know, a celebrity kind of figure, then it's just like he basically just be taking advantage of her,
literally,
especially after they go on this game show and he, like, knew all the commercials because he worked on making these commercials. And, like, you know,
and I thought it was gonna be like they were just for show in a relationship for their careers, and then she would fall in love with this version of him because they maybe the last guy was like they didn't really get along or whatever, but then this guy, like, he actually is in love with her, and then she can see that he actually, like, cares about her, and then that could grow. I was like, okay, I could be interested in that type of relationship. You know, what I wouldn't want is just he, you know, gets the girl because he's a good, you know, like, he takes the place of this guy, and
he's good at faking.
Yeah, and also, like, you know, like, it's just kind of weird. It's just kind of weird, I guess, to the way that I was expecting it. But it's not, it's weird in a way that a lot of shows might do. But, like, just like, oh yeah, the woman, she's literally just a reward. She's literally just a reward. And all the creepiness of you assuming a different identity of her dead boyfriend who killed himself, you know, that's not going to be explored at all. She's just a hot girl with blonde hair and, like, you know, purplish, like blue eyes.
Yeah, I think that's definitely an interesting twist. The whole thing, at the start, I couldn't really even tell what was going on. Like, I felt like the first, like, I feel like this 10 minutes, been I was like
30-minute episode, you know? Yeah. Like, not a full double, but I feel like if it had a couple, maybe it wouldn't have helped, because maybe, like, I think they're just trying to... part of it is, like, just overloading you with the thing to leave off on this thing, like the cliffhanger of she's dead, and this isn't as you know, as simple as it kind of seemed at the start, because this whole thing of him, he's like, you know, pitches this idea, but he already told the client, and then he gets fired, and then the whole company gets fired, but then it was just so... It was so fast. It was so fast that it just catches you off guard. I can see why people were really hyping this up. First of all, like, the animation change from, like, you know, it starts off in the commercial. I also really liked when he was really getting into the character and, like, having his victory moment, how it, like, reverted to the style of his commercial that he made. Yeah. It's like he was living the fantasy of, you know, anyone can be the hero. Like, the whole point of his commercial that he made was, you know, and it does kind of go back to the comic thing from time to time, but it's like the whole point of his commercial is anyone, even me, the guy making this commercial who's, you know, just makes commercials for a living, could be a hero. And then in his hero moment where he truly embodies and feels like a hero is when it like look like that's like his outlook on the world. He's like living the fantasy that he created and proposed, you know? I felt like that was a really cool... And it seems like that's kind of a theme of how the powers work, or like how everything kind of works in this world, is it's about manifesting, and that plays kind of into... It's honestly a sort of light in the darkness with the perspective of wish fulfillment fantasy type thing. Because, you know, that wish fulfillment to me is like kind of bland, because it's just... You just want something, and then the world, like, gives it to you, and then you just take, like, you know, like, there's not a lot of story there, but, like, the way that they're doing it here, where it even if it's not how, like, the literal power system works, thematically, it gives a lot of interesting ground, because it seems like it's manifesting. So it's like you need to believe in it. You need to like trust
And
in
other
yourself
people need to
and
believe
other
in it.
And that's how the powers emerge. And that's it is kind of like realistic in that way. It's like if you don't if you think you're just an ordinary person, if you think you have nothing to give to the world, then you have nothing to give to the world. You know, it's not the same as say like Solo Leveling where he just gets this power. It's basically just given to him and then he takes it further, but it's like he's given a chance and then he's making the most of it. And the way that the powers seem to work, or the way that the story is kind of exploring that, is that it manifests based on belief and based on confidence and drive in that direction. But if you know, and there's also a kind of thing where there's like a, you know, I don't know, maybe there's a lower threshold where he wanted to believe, but he couldn't because he didn't have the means to, but then he's given a chance and he could do, I don't know. It's playing on in an interesting way there,
I think it is also interesting, the whole dynamic of, it seems that, you know, they get their power, they have to believe in themselves, but they also, the power system kind of works. It's like if people are afraid of you, then that will give you power, and if people have trust in you and believe in you, then that will give you power in a different way. So, and I feel like that's interesting, and I like it for this setting, because at first it's just like, you know, why is like essentially like Superman needing commercials of himself?
Yeah.
Like, don't his actions speak for himself? It's like, no, they need the commercials. They need to have the girlfriend who is basically, like, she doesn't seem to be doing as much fighting. She's the cheerleader to hype people up, to hype him up. That gives him more power if she's there, like, cheering him on from the sidelines, and thus making other people cheer him on from the sidelines, thus giving him more, making him believe in himself and giving him more power. But I feel like it's interesting in a world where, it's like these superheroes, but they're super highly produced and have all these reality shows, and you're like, shouldn't they be out saving the world? It's like, but to get their powers to save the world, they need to be doing these media appearances.
And it also creates a whole industry under them, and people, like, then, you know, a bunch of people's jobs and corporations depend on the popularity of this one thing, so.
And it makes sense why, because at first, it's like the commercial at the beginning, you're like, oh no, that's a great commercial. Anyone can be like this guy. And then they're like, no, we can't have anyone being this guy. We need this guy getting more power. So we can't have people like diverting their trust
they're
amongst
creating
heroes.
a god that they can profit off of, basically. It's kind of, maybe there's going to be some religious kind of commentary with that, because that's kind of what it's kind of like a religious system, and it basically literally is. It's like the more you give it power, and then it has the power, and then, you know, the people who benefit from that or who are close to that can, like, you know, benefit from it in different ways. So it's very cool. And I was confused with how his powers worked. Like, it seemed like I forget what, it was going so fast. And also, like, a small thing, I'm sorry if I wasn't, like, we or whatever, if we were not catching things as fast. I think genuinely we're so used to Japanese at this point that them just speaking a different language that's not English. Like, even sometimes I'll watch an English show and I'll, like, or we'll watch something in dub and I'll, like, be a little bit behind because we're so used to the rhythm of the way Japanese people talk and the way the voice acting is, that, like, it's almost like a, not a pneumatic device, but that kind of thing. Like, it's a rhythm that we're sort of caught in. So when they're speaking not only fast but in a different language, even if we have everything written in front of us, the whole pacing of the conversation and the way that everything moves makes it easier for me to miss stuff. So hopefully we'll get better at that as we go along. But I don't want to switch to Japanese because it's authentic to this show.
Yeah, people said that the pace of the show and the movements work a lot better in Chinese, and I feel like that fits because I feel like, you know, just the way that everything was, I felt like it was very good, but it was a little bit harder to keep up, because you think, listening to a different language doesn't matter what language it is because you don't understand it, but when you're really used to hearing one and, like, you know, can pick out the odd word or, like, understand the, you know, this way of saying something, or, you know, but hearing something that's just totally
completely different,
different, even if you didn't understand the other language, that, you know, but they're so different from each other.
There's like a language comprehension thing where we don't speak Japanese and we don't really know Japanese really, but we're so used to it that, like, it's definitely, we're on the spectrum of fluency. We're definitely closer, even though we couldn't, you know, actually interact with a Japanese person. It's really interesting just to compare it to a show that's in a completely different light, you know, like you don't notice it until you notice it type thing. But I noticed it this episode. And I'm like, if this was in Japanese, I bet I would be following it a lot more. But yeah, they even said right here, I skipped out of it for some stupid reason, but when he gets out of the car, don't forget, it's the power of trust that changes and shapes the world. And they mentioned that like during the fight at the end, it's like fear is the opposite of trust. So it seems like there's a dark and light kind of power dynamic going on there. If that's the case, again, like maybe there's other things that they said that I missed.
And I do like that it's like trust and fear instead of just like
love and fear.
Yeah, it's like the trust.
Some Donnie Darko.
The trust that someone can protect. It's like you just believing that they can protect you will allow them to protect you. But if you could love someone and not trust that they will like keep you safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because you know, it's a bit of a different thing. Or you can idolize someone and like know that they're not perfect, but when you trust is like it's incredibly deep emotion. So I feel like I like that, like the trust and fear. They're not necessarily exact opposites like traditionally, but I feel like it works really well.
It's also the fact that they're like complementary. I think that the big bad or whatever rival he has, maybe the Homelander guy, is gonna have both.
And then that like
they will trust him because he's so powerful, but they're
afraid of
also
him 'cause he's
fear
so
him, and then
powerful.
that also gives him power. And maybe there will be different mixtures of that. But I think that whoever is the biggest threat will have both of them. And I don't know if he'll have to go into the fear, like in order to inspire fear, or if fear is like a high risk, high reward thing where like people fear you, but it doesn't last as long.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see somebody use both.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting. I also like the idea of sort of like a fear amplifier. You know what I mean? And that makes sense. I don't know, maybe there might be something as a trust amplifier.
Maybe that's the thing in his chest.
That could be, but it would also make sense to me that like there are things that you can like, you know, I guess there are things that you could do to make someone trust you more in a way, but there are like many things that you can do to like set people on edge and make them, you know what I mean? Like, just naturally, like people, it's easy to like kickstart people's fear response, you know, by, you know, different things. So like, yeah, I feel like that's an interesting concept, and kind of like you were saying, like a high risk, high reward, maybe shorter term type deal.
Yeah. And speaking of all this, the way the power system works and shit, I bet like she was probably killed because of that, because she's like the cheerleader, like you said. It's like she's a big part of his power because of you know, how the relationship gets him more popularity. So whoever, maybe the you know, the guy I'm talking about, or somebody else who wants to see him burn, will come in and kill her. And maybe this is like the Miss J or whatever her name was, she just mentioned how you'll have to face this same thing as well. And that was kind of like a foreshadowing type thing. And maybe that's foreshadowing this, where the previous Nice had, and maybe there's more. Yeah. Maybe there is more, but maybe he had he was actually just suicidal, and he was just like, his life was probably being fucked with maybe by somebody, by a rival or by some other organization or somebody who wanted to see him go down. And in order to destabilize his power, they have to like fuck with him psychologically, which is kind of interesting. I don't know. Maybe it'll go in that direction. I can't tell how with this like end turn. It's going to be interesting to see how they balance that, how they balance like the hero wish fulfillment, you know, zero to hero type thing, and like fantasy, the power fantasy aspect, versus this darker kind of like more side of it, you know. I wonder how deep or how shallow they're going to go into this type of thing, or if it is just for shock value. But I'm interested to see how far they go with it.
Yeah, I feel like what I would like is, I feel like I would like, I like this, you know, this dramatic, you know, there's like blood all over the place at the end. I mean, it'll be fine either way, because the show's like very beautifully stunning, and I'm really enjoying it so far. But I feel like I would like it if it, you know, went into that a little bit, but didn't just rely solely on like shock factor moments and just like, oh, it's super bloody and super crazy. I like the sort of, you know, psychological aspect of it, along with like, you know, the way that the power system seems to work, you know. I feel like there's a lot of cool opportunities.
Agree. Leave a like and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one, Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
Bye-bye.